game.
Okay, but if you wash away, just to play devil's advocate, wash away the Oklahoma loss, and so now you're looking at them side by side. Alabama's one loss is to number 2 Auburn. Ohio State's one loss is to unranked Iowa, who lost to Purdue 2 weeks later.
Iowa. But I'm saying even in that scenario, if Ohio State wins the conference championship and Alabama doesn't, like that's when that should mean something. That's like in like a head-to-head tiebreaker. What do you look at? You look at like they played head-to-head. No, they have their conference championship.
Number of losses.
Like let's actually, you know what?
Think of it as head-to-head.
Yeah,
I feel like
a big part of it. And I think I think my dad asked me the other night. He was like, "Well, what if Oklahoma loses? Would they get in over Ohio State because they'd both be 10-2 and Oklahoma has the win against Ohio State?" I would said no, because Ohio State wins the conference championship, so their resumes are not equal. Only in the event that the resumes were equal would you look at the head-to-head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think let's do this. I think this
then why play? Why play?
What do you mean? Like, so what do you mean by that?
Well, no, if you're going to discount head-to-head and say it's not until all the attributes have been calculated if we're even then why play? I think head-to-head should be at the top of the list.
I think head-to-head is a tiebreaker, and head-to-head like is what you look at when the resumes are equal, and you go, okay, well they played, they settled it on the field, and this team's ahead. Head-to-head is hugely important.
To me, this entire system is bullshit. The fact that people are voting, the fact that there's a room full of people that are appointed to decide.
I mean, you look at like NFL,
Follow the money.
MLB, it's you win this.
Hard facts.
There's hard qualifiers.
Period.
But that's also kind of what makes college football fun, is that we can have these debates, like, and it gets people, talking, who is.
Yeah, and it keeps everybody distracted from the fact that we're exploiting all these kids.
It's true.
Not to get into all that.
Another.
That's true, but what are you going to do?
Committee of 12 people in a room. What makes these people sacred?
You brought up hard facts, so I think this would be a fun exercise. Let's rank those hard facts. Like, what is most important? Like, if we're the committee,
your record,
your best win, your worst loss, and your conference championship.
Your wins is number one priority over the record, because you could see Auburn right now, they're ranked number 2 and they have 2 losses.
And Wisconsin hasn't played anybody and they're undefeated, so they're
right.
They have to be.
It's who you've beaten.
It's wins / who are those wins?
That's number one.
But who knows what the wins are? There's preseason rankings. No preseason rankings determine
your starting position.
Rankings are subjective too. Like, these people are voting. So
you say but Wisconsin hasn't beaten anybody, and you say Alabama hasn't beaten any. But
they started at number 1, so how can they drop?
How could they?
That's a good point. Like, the preseason rankings are pretty bullshit.
Alabama started pretty high, but they played Florida State, and Florida State was
ranked.
At
the time, they were pretty high too. They were
very, very high. It was the highest matchup to start the season before. And now Florida State is nowhere to be seen.
So are we in agreement that record is the number 1?
But the NFL doesn't work this way. I mean,
the NFL's math.
Right. But no, I mean, like Green Bay almost beat the Steelers, and the Steelers are the top 4 power rank.
But it doesn't help Green Bay at all. Yeah.
So
like in the NFL doesn't matter. Let's say Pack out, they'll be 9-7 win the championship. It's about
winning your division or getting in the wild card.
Yeah, so there's qualifiers in these.
I think we've raised more questions than we have answers.
So let's get back to what we believe are the top attributes that should be considered. I'm okay with agreeing that record should, and to the NFL's point, like, record matters the most. Like, wins doesn't matter by how much or
NFL
how
is
little.
Winning your division, which in college football would be winning your conference, which is how it should be.
Yeah, they're the automatic bid, the winning the division.
So, like,
whether
even
you're
if you
8-8 or not,
right? You get in because you won that conference or
yeah.
Which is maybe how it should be.
And again, I think this gets back the way Aaron and I are going to fix college.
Well, and that's our thing, because this whole thing is a mess. And I think it's a perfect segue. Let's wrap a bow on what we were talking about and make our segue.
So let's
so the
say
way it is now,
record is 1. Then I think 2 is your best win or worst loss. What comes first there?
That's
best
the question.
Wins. If you look at the history of the rankings, at least for this season, it's been
if Ohio State has any record, it's who you've beaten.
Conference standing.
Yeah. Conference standing.
It's 3.
Does that mean like winning your championship?
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's 3. So your best wins, because a lot of it is that directly into strength of schedule, right? So it's tied into strength of schedule by saying who did you go outside of conference to play? You know what I mean? And that's where Alabama is kind of getting hit on this year, and rightfully so.
Hey, when they scheduled Florida State,
True.
Florida State was a big game. So
And-
can you blame them? Because
you're
Florida
right.
State didn't hold up their end of the bargain?
You're right.
2 years out?
Yep.
And even Wisconsin last year, they had a lot of good matchups out of their conference, but then this year they don't have them.
You're right. And
Now
that's a
they're
stupid
undefeated.
thing that college football does, by the
It's
way.
disgusting.
That's a really dumb thing. Like,
schedule
you should
games
be
8
able
years
to.
out.
You should have like the ability to schedule good games. But you know who's still not
It's
doing
not
that?
1932 anymore. We don't
Yeah.
have to schedule the line to make sure we get the players there. Come on.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Talking about Power 5 conference, but like they'll pay the money to make it happen tomorrow if it's going to get money for their school.
Well, we need to play in the Big Ten so that our bus schedule isn't too difficult on these big country roads.
All right. So wrapping up this segment, the top things that should be considered are your record, your best win, and your conference championship in that order. So with that in mind, do we think
that's
Ohio
sure
State-
beneficial to Ohio State to say it that way, huh?
I know. That's what I was just going to say, but
I would maybe
it
put-
is, and maybe it is.
I'd maybe put your worst loss above the conference because we're at the season. We kind of know who's going to go.
Conference championship that low for all of them,
Conferences, that's medical.
which is like I think that's a reason
But
to
then,
have it high.
but then why do we have conferences?
Exactly.
If it's not going to matter.
Exactly. Yes, I agree. So,
Because in NFL, it's not win-loss. It's conference, number one.
and it also depends on your conference. Like, you can't do much if you're in the Big 12 and both teams playing have 3 losses. They win that conference. That's not going to help them at all. Like, you rely on the strength of your
Pac-12
conference.
this year, the Pac-12.
Yeah, and exactly. And you rely on the strength of your conference,
But
right?
is it to say that the Pac-12's worse or the Big Ten's worse because of multiple losses, or does it mean better? They're more competitive.
I would tend to believe that in like the Power 5 conferences, that's typically showing that it's a better conference that year. And this year, does anybody at this table disagree that the Big Ten was the strongest conference? We have SEC always strong, but remember how many shitty teams we have in the SEC. There's a lot of shitty teams in the Big Ten, but right now in the SEC, what teams are relevant to matter? 3 teams, right? 3 teams.
Auburn, Georgia,
And Bama. And then in the Big Ten this year, you've got 3 teams that are relevant: Wisconsin, Ohio State, Penn State, right? And of those teams, Ohio State beat Penn State, and they might beat Wisconsin and get the conference champ and have those wins in a tough conference this year. It was a tough conference.
Maybe best.
And Michigan State was good. And again, Iowa is good.
Michigan was no cakewalk.
Michigan's no cakewalk in Michigan, in Ann Arbor. I think Ohio State's strengths of schedule is a huge plus for them.
Auburn has all those wins too in the SEC
Does
over
the
Alabama
SEC
and Georgia, and they
does-
can get the second win over Georgia and conference title.
Then Auburn would be in for sure. But does the SEC deserve 2 just because the way the schedule shakes out that that they only get to have 1 loss?
I wouldn't say that they deserve it. It's just kind of by default, Alabama will fall into it. Same with Ohio. Ohio State would fall
By default would fall in.
into.
Based
I agree.
on all of it.
So we'll see. I
think at the end of this, it comes down to style points. Eyeball test: Ohio State versus Wisconsin. If Ohio State goes out and shows that they could compete with the other teams today,
And to do that, they have to destroy Wisconsin, right? At this point, with Oklahoma looking so dominant over TCU, and we haven't checked the score in a while, I assume that that's still happening. Yeah, so if Ohio State dominate number 4 with Wisconsin, I think they make a better case better themselves than number 5 idle Alabama at the end of the day. I think that's what the conference will do. And again, let's not pretend that politics and hand greasing isn't going on here in this fucking committee. It is big time. And Ohio State has the most interesting storylines. Either way, no matter how you slice it, if it's Clemson, Ohio State, that's a redemption
and
game.
they don't want a Clemson-Bama rematch. They don't. So if Clemson gets in, that's good for Ohio State. With Oklahoma getting in, it would have, them losing would have given us a space to get in. But the fact that they won strengthens our schedule even more.
And this needs to be a lesson to Alabama to have a better schedule. And it's not just that they scheduled Florida State and Florida State didn't help.
The thing about their Florida State schedule, no, they didn't do a home and home. They did neutral site.
Always neutral site. Yes, that's a big thing for Nick Saban. Yep, always neutral site.
Yeah, they won't come up here and play either.
No,
in the north.
It's a neutral site game, and then that fucking Mercer game that they schedule. Nobody else does that.
Mercy rule.
Nobody else does that. So this needs to be a lesson to Alabama and teams like Alabama to say you have to have a strong schedule if you're going to be considered. You know what I mean? And yeah, does that outweigh a horrible loss to Ohio State? I don't know. Maybe not.
Speaking of Mercer, and as read through Bama's schedule, I was just thinking to myself, my God, what if NFL teams scheduled Canadian Football League teams
Yeah.
throughout the season? And let's say you're a Steelers fan, and then in week 4 and in week 7 and week 9, they played Canadian Football League teams. Would you enjoy that?
No, God, no. And I don't enjoy these powder puff teams that Ohio State plays at the beginning of the year. It's pointless.
It sucks.
It's not fun for anybody. You can't get hyped to watch that game on Saturday when they're playing like an LV. Even
Right.
You're like, whatever. It
takes the place of NFL preseason.
preseason. Yeah, exactly. So what
But
do
they
you
all
even?
count.
Yeah, it's and every once in a while, sure, you have an Appalachian
count for
State
the
beat a Michigan
stats.
or something,
we
and that's
love
that's
that.
great. That's fun. That's really awesome. But and I think this is even a better segue into how we fix this. All right, so we have a plan. We have a plan to fix college football. Before we do that, I want to take a break and just say thank you again to our sponsor, the Thurman Cafe, best burger in Columbus.
Tasty
Burger. Boom. Do you guys have a tagline that you'd like to use?
Thurman Cafe, the tastiest you've ever had.
Boom. So again, head to the Thurman Cafe. What's the address?
183 Thurman Avenue,
183.
43206, off the freeway, 70. Whichever way you're passing through Columbus, Ohio, we're an easy stop off the freeway. Call ahead for takeout.
Okay, so also remember that you can be a part of the show by emailing us at geeks, that's GEEKS at HOTYB.co. Give us a topic that you want us to discuss here on the show. We'll read it here live on the air, and you can be a part of this. So thank you so much for listening. We're going to transition now
To fixing college football.
That's right, guys. Aaron and I have figured this out. We know how to fix college football. Do you want to set it up?
Well, it's a unification of the Premier League in soccer, as we call it, over there in England, and kind of basing it off the NFL. So we would have 4 major conferences, 2 divisions holding those 2 conferences, north, south, east, west, anyone? And we would be paring down the league into a 40-team league, 10 in each division of the division, and with the opportunity potentially for teams that don't maintain success, if you will, the bottom teams would drop down into the B League.
Be
with
relegated.
The potential relegated, thank you. With the potential for the B League teams to move up, and it would be a fluid flow, constant motion, up and down.
So, for example, years ago when TCU and Baylor weren't in the Big 12 and they were, having really great seasons, or Boise State was having a great season, everyone's like, oh, they deserve a shot at this. Or UCF this year is having a great season, they deserve a shot at this. And Tennessee just keeps shitting the bed year after year. Be a perfect case where Tennessee is relegated,
move down,
and they're bumped up. And Tennessee could revamp their efforts and try to get back in. And and that's not to say that the league below this or whatever the other league looks like, or if that other league is the NCAA in some way or whatever it is, wouldn't be fun and competitive and fun to watch. Just like some people like watching high school football. Whatever, it's fun. It's football. It's great. Maybe you hold Tuesday nights as your game to have, and that's the spotlight for those teams. Whatever, but we're going to focus on the premier.
Well, that's the fact of the matter. There are your blue blood franchises, your blue blood colleges that are always in it. And, we're pretending and lying to ourselves. If you're a Northwestern fan and you're out there and gee, we're going to dominate college. I mean, it's never going to happen.
Nope.
It's not.
Nope. Even for God's sake, Purdue's. You see Purdue making a college football playoff anytime in the next 25 years?
It's not set up for that. It's not. So let's quit kidding ourselves and let's form a league.
Give Purdue and Northwestern a shot to win
football.
B. Yep.
Let's make every game an event. No
Mercer.
Not with 150 different teams, we can find 6 games a weekend to put on prime time. They do that, and that's how they do it. But what I would prefer is if the same teams everybody cares about and knows and loves, we build storylines, we play each other.
You create intrigue by interesting matchups every week, to your point. So, and also, this is also a way to save the NFL in my head. There's a backdoor way here that we're saving the NFL, who's struggling in ratings, which again, Are they really struggling that hard in ratings? I don't know. I think that is all some
Still
bullshit.
number one.
Still number one by a long shot. But I'm just saying, the way that we titled this was NFLU, by the way, okay? NFLU is a university. It's NFL, in some way NFL sponsored. But each school maintains sponsorship rights over their team, okay? So Ohio State would be